Keeping and caring for snails at home. Snails, previously causing only disgust and association with pests or French delicacies, are now gaining popularity as a pet. Snails are silent and harmless creatures, they do not smell, do not cause allergies and take up little space in the apartment. Easy care, minimal maintenance costs and the possibility to leave the pet at home during vacations makes a snail an ideal pet even for people who are rarely at home. Even a child can easily take care of this pet. It is hard to believe, but the majority of snail owners are sure that their pets are able to recognize their owners and prefer to avoid communication with people they don't know. Accustomed to humans, snails don't hide in their shells and allow themselves to be stroked on the wet body without fear. The most sociable and not timid are considered large Achatina reticulata snails. To keep snails at home, use a terrarium, but also suit any container of non-toxic material, closing the lid with ventilation holes. In addition to a terrarium, you will also need soil, which can be coconut substrate, earth, moss or sphagnum. Several bowls for food, grain mixes, and calcium. A swimmer made of non-solid materials to avoid damaging the snail's shell in a possible fall. A thermometer and hydrometer to monitor the temperature and humidity in the terrarium. A personal sponge to wash the terrarium and the snail shells themselves, never in contact with detergents. A sprayer with clean, settled or filtered water. In nature, snails live in the subtropics, which means the microclimate should also be kept humid and warm the whole year round. For most species of snails, room temperature of 23 to 25 degrees is acceptable. However, for particularly heat-loving species need additional heating of the dwelling. Humidity is one of the most important factors for a snail's comfortable life. In a terrarium, it is created by daily spraying with filtered water from a sprayer and maintained by the ground and the swimming pool. In case of insufficient humidity, the snail becomes less active, loses its appetite and burrows deep into the ground. Keep the terrarium clean by daily cleaning up leftover food and feces. Depending on how dirty the bottom soil is, it is replaced by fresh bottom soil after washing the terrarium with hot water and a sponge without detergents. In the last 10 years, many different species and variations of snails have appeared, which differ from each other not only by size and color, but also by the shape of the shell and the body. Keeping different species in one terrarium is not recommended due to different keeping conditions. Even in case of similar temperature and humidity levels in the terrarium, the snails may not tolerate the company of another species, and, as a result, they may become stressed, refuse to eat and not grow. The diet of a house snail consists mainly of vegetables, fruits and herbs. Snails find cucumbers, carrots, apples, zucchini and lettuce especially tasty. By eating only one kind of food, the snail quickly gets used to it and loses all interest in everything else, which affects its growth rate, so the snail's menu should be as varied as possible. It is categorically impossible to use spicy, salty or fried products. An obligatory addition to the basic diet is calcium, grain mixtures and animal protein, gammarus, boiled eggs or chicken. Calcium is necessary for snails to build up the shell. It is given in the form of feed powder or chalk lumps, cuttlefish shell, sepia, or crushed eggshells. They can be sprinkled on succulent food or leave in a terrarium in a separate container. You can watch the snail in all its glory and communicate a lot with it during the bathing, when even the shyest person gets real pleasure from the process and doesn't try to hide in the shell. The snail is bathed under a weak stream of slightly warm water, holding it in the palm of your hand to avoid contact with the sink or bathtub, where it might get traces of detergents that are toxic to the snail. Bathing is a great way to make contact with a snail that is wild or not used to you. It is recommended to bathe the snail at least a couple of times a week. However, the pet's genuine joy during water procedures makes owners do it much more often. As crepuscular animals, snails are more active in the morning and evening when all family members are home and can watch the pet. Many people believe that snails have the ability to calm and relieve stress, just like aquarium fish do. If you want a pet that is low maintenance and doesn't need constant human presence, you're worried about possible noise, odor and dirt, or if you don't want to spend a lot of money to keep a pet, a snail may be the perfect pet you've been looking for. Share the video with your friends, write suggestions for the next videos in the comments. Thanks for watching.